Hey everybody, it's Gypsy. It is 10:30 Central Time on New Year's Eve, 2022. First, I'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I'm on the train on my way home to New Mexico. Been gone, it'll be 2 weeks. It's been a long time. I miss all my babies. Apparently, Persephone is kind of giving my friend Kim a hard time. She's always been my cat from hell, but she seems to be upping her game here, so I need to get home because my girls need me, and then my son will be bringing Sirius home. So this trip has been very interesting for me. First of all, I've never traveled on train before. I love it. I'm sitting here having a rum and coke to celebrate the new year. This is my second one of the evening. I had one on an early evening, late afternoon. The guy who works in the cafe here, in the cafe bar, makes the best rum and cokes. In my day, we called it either rum and coke or Cuba Libre. I love these, but he makes really good ones. So I didn't think I was going to have another one because I fell asleep. But, then we stopped in St. Louis for a break, for quite a long break, half an hour. Kind of woke me up. I was outside walking around and having a cigarette or two. And then I thought, well, no, I'm going to have one more to celebrate the holiday. So anyways, my mother told me never to have a drink, an alcoholic drink through a straw. Anyways, I hope she doesn't see that. It was if I was on a date with a young man when I was younger than ever. So, for 3 years, I lived as a nomad, traveling the country, boondocking on BLM land. And I've always been a loner, and I've always loved nature, and I love quiet. I'm coming from a family my mother's Sicilian, and they're loud. My dad's side of the family is mostly, German and Welsh. They're more quiet people. Yeah, it was confusing when I was a kid. But, even though my personality these days, as I get older, tends to be more on the Italian side, I still prefer quiet, but I just love nature. Most people who are pagans, witches, as I am, especially I'm a green witch, I love to work with plants. And we all know how much I love animals. I met a woman on the train today. We made friends. We were talking about our dogs and stuff, and told her I have no control when it comes to animals. I just love them, domestic and wild. But this has, for the last few years, enabled me to live the life that's most suited for me and that I want. A very quiet life outside of society. From the age of 4 or 5, I realized I don't fit in. I don't fit into society. It's been a very difficult time for me, a very difficult life. Caused a lot of depression because I felt the right thing to do was try to fit in. And the more I tried, the more depressed I got. The more difficult life was for me. So then when I became a nomad, I thought, I was no longer depressed. And now I live in central New Mexico in the middle of nowhere. I just bought land. I'm starting a homestead from scratch. And I live in an area that's quiet. I'm totally off-grid still. It's been 3.5 years I've lived off-grid. I'm not in society. I still don't fit in with society, and I no longer conform. Now that being said, this is the first time since June of 2019 I have traveled back to Ohio. And you're back in, not just with your family, but my family lives in the suburbs of Cleveland. And so it's like I'm back to be a suburb as well. It's a city with shorter buildings. It made me realize how different, one, my world is from societies in the city. But it showed me, because when you live like I do, and you are enjoying the life you want, the life you enjoy, you tend to forget there's, well, something else out there. Now, I want to say, how I live is not for everybody. There are people who love being in the city with other people and the hubbub, and they love the matrix. They love the way society is. That's their cup of tea. It's not mine. How I live is not for everybody else, and how others live is not for me. But this exposure reminded me of what it's like. I guess what I didn't really understand, well, is, the last few years with the pandemic and stuff. When you live as a nomad, like when it first started, it really did not affect me all that much, other than me wondering, are they going to close BLM land for camping? But other than that, the nomadic community, we didn't wear masks. We still gathered around the campfire, get together for our dinners, our potlucks and stuff like that. Didn't really affect us. And living as I do, it still doesn't change my life. Even though, the strains have become weaker and things have calmed down with that, it appears to me they're trying to ramp it back up again. And we all know, in the winter, especially when you live in cold climates, things like flus, things like, flu season, it crops back up. And it is winter. So anyways, it just made me realize, I knew what was going on, but I hadn't really experienced it. First I want to talk about is the living in fear. When we live in fear, especially constant fear, it's actually our own personal choice. Nobody imposes that on you. You impose it on yourself. It's a choice. I know it doesn't seem that way, but it actually is. And I guess this was a test for me, because me living the way I do, well, it's easy for me not to choose not to live in fear. I have removed myself from that. I have separated myself from that. Now, I could live in the very rural community I do by myself and choose to live in fear by watching all this stuff on the news and alternate media and stuff like that. But I didn't. What I noticed is, all right, being immersed in my family, being immersed with all their neighbors in the community, the suburbs. My sister lives in a suburb that is not in the same county as Cleveland, but it's like the first city in the next county. So she is right near Cleveland, and so it's very hectic. And it's like you can feel the fear more. It's more prevalent. But still, I chose not to live in fear about it. Because you can feel the fear, and it's all the talk and everything. Plus, my mother is in assisted living care, and we're in the process of switching her to nursing care. Now, I am not pro-mask, but if I go into somebody's establishment or even their own home, and they wish me to wear a mask, I'm going to, because that is their establishment, their home, and just like I have the freedom to decide what goes on in my home, and I have the freedom not to wear a mask, if I am entering their domain, within their boundaries, then I expect what I expect in my house, or my business even, I should give them the respect I expect for myself. So I do put a mask on. Now, when I'm going to these establishments, while I was in Cleveland, to visit my mother. Old, elderly people there. Now, like I said, I believe COVID is a thing. It's real, it's true. But the specifics, what it really is, how it really happened, what's truly going on, is where they're lying to us, okay? Now, if I wanted to see my mother, I needed to wear a mask. What's more important to me? visiting my mother who I hadn't seen in years because I live across country, or me getting on my high horse because I don't believe in the mask thing. I'm getting up to see my mother who I'm already in Missouri right now. My mother's still in Northeast Ohio. I could have said, no, I'm not wearing a mask, and I can't go see my mother. I'm not believing about seeing her. Well, my mother's not well. I can get my jerk here. She's could be gone by next Christmas or even next month. You never know. So, am I willing to sacrifice my loved ones, my family, seeing my mother for my principles about a mask? I go into this establishment where they are supposed to be, use that term loosely about these facilities. We found a better one. Take care of my mother. Okay? So, I did do that. But what I didn't do, because this was, I believe we test ourselves, spiritually on a universal level. And when we say the universe is testing us, I often believe it's actually our higher self. Because we have these plans for our life to learn certain lessons. And for me, I used to be a very shy, timid person, afraid. I would conform and live in fear all the time. And I guess I needed to see, because I lived such a solitary life, have I overcome living in fear? I am proud to say I have. Because although I wore that mask, and the only time I wore it was to go see my mother, because I feel that is worth the sacrifice to see my mother. Okay? My mother is more important to me than me giving up my viewpoints, my stand on this situation. My mother's more important to that. And I can do it temporarily. I go see my mother for an hour or two. I'm wearing a mask. And then that's it. It was the only place I was that did it. So, in that manner, I saw, yes, I have overcome living in fear. And, it's like I always say just observe what is going on here. And one day we had a discussion. What I mean by that, I have detached and observed. But here is the sad thing. I saw while I was in the city with my family, with the old community, the division that we are allowing to be. It was much more prevalent there. Where I live, we're angry about it, and it's there. But we go about our lives, and we don't let it really affect us. At least I don't. I don't immerse myself in it. I watch alternate news. I watch videos of what people have to say about it, so that I can discern for myself. What I don't do is get attached and let it affect me and my life. When I went back there for the holidays, back in the society, most people can't do that. I'm seeing people can't. They don't. Everybody talks about what's going on 24/7. It was very sad. But even that didn't affect me. I did a couple times try to have conversations with people about it, because I find these conversations interesting. And even when the person doesn't agree with me, I still want to converse about it, because I think it's interesting. It's kind of like my ex-husband once told me, he and my son have a tendency to agree on most things, politically or socially, whereas with me, I don't. And he said, it's more fun for me to talk to you about this stuff because we don't agree. Well, that's the way I feel. Unfortunately, most people don't have the level of, I'm going to say, spiritual advancement. They haven't gotten there yet. And it's not a judgment. Because I was there at one time, we all were. We incarnate several times to work on these issues. But I found still, and I really think what is going on today is more of a worldwide growth test. so that more people can get to the point where they can detach and, you know, talk about this stuff, even if they agree or disagree with the other person talking about. I think it's a test to, do you have the strength to be who you truly are, be true to yourself, live your own life, and not conform to what's going on out there? What the powers that be are trying to force on us. This is what's going on. They are intentionally dividing us. Because what I learned in elementary school, divide and conquer concept. They use that in war. Well, there's more than one kind of war. It doesn't have to be a physical war, dropping bombs, etc. There is the spiritual war, emotional war, societal war. I really feel all of those things are the wars that are going on now. Yes, there are the regular wars we usually think of around the world, but we have to remember those other wars are going on. They use divide and conquer. So it's like I go into the city, I go into society, and it kind of makes me sad to see, well, they might be succeeding, but I don't know, because when I live in my world, I see they're not. So it is odd. I really think everything is a matter of perspective. So the world I live in, and it is probably because we have a more relaxed lifestyle, and it's easier not to buy into it. I don't know. I'm not bragging. I'm not tooting my neighbor's horns or anything like that. It's just, I'm wondering if that's it. I don't know. But I'm talking about this because I want people to understand. One, you don't have to agree with everybody. And just because you don't agree with somebody, even if you don't agree with their lifestyle, that does not mean you have to hate them. That does not mean you cannot be friends or whatever, acquaintances, and you cannot be nice to each other. But we've been taught that we have to hate each other if we do not agree. That's sad. The perspective, the choice. If you wish to remain in the matrix, it is your choice. Okay? And I'm not going to begrudge you that, but don't begrudge me my lifestyle either. So, we're going through a lot of changes in this world. Things are very strange, very different from, it's just changed so much in the 58 years I have been alive. And it's odd, it's strange. When I see what's going on today, it's weird to me. I'm like, oh, this is weird shit. But I don't want, I detach and I observe. And I live my life. We have to remember, especially when it comes to our close friends and our family, why divide on that? And when we divide, love is more important. Love is stronger. So don't cut people off from your life because you disagree on something. That's stupid. I saw a lot of that in society, in the towns and stuff. Just do your own thing. Be true to yourself. But let others be true to themselves. What you want for you, the respect for who you truly are, the ability to live the life you want, no matter what that is, you have to give to other people too. Okay? If you want it, you have to give that too. Is what I'm saying. Whether it's your lifestyle or, I know a lot of people would think I live in a very strange manner, I'm sure. I have no doubt about that. And there are other lifestyles, well, I kind of don't understand. I don't understand. But I don't judge that person. I don't try to say, well, you can't look like that and I hate you. No. I go more by what quality of character. How are you treating me? How do I see you treating others? I have cut people off, people who society-wise are considered normal, because I see them treating others. Now, somebody tried to treat me that way. You're not in my life if you're going to treat me like that. And I have seen times where they stopped doing that. We were able to remain friends. But then I turn around and I'm sitting here watching them do it to others. I can't have that either, and I usually end up breaking ties with that person because of the quality of their character. what I'm saying. When it comes to your family and friends, and it's over societal, political issues, religious issues, etc., I just think we need to stop cutting each other off. They want to divide us so they can conquer us. Yeah, and I know I feel like I'm just rambling here on New Year's Eve and on the train, just talking, and I am. But it was an experience for me. I hadn't been back there in a few years. And just the things I was thinking about that I observed. And I realized how different my life is, how much it has changed since I left Ohio. And how much I've given myself the gift of being able to find who I truly am and living that life and being true to myself and hanging on to it, despite what others might say or think of me. And I, in return, anybody else who lives a life different from society or different from mine, they're being true to themselves, they're living the life they want, I am happy for them. They don't have to be a nomad or a homesteader, an off-gridder. Whatever they're doing, if they choose to stay in the matrix, if for some reason that makes them happy, then I am happy for them. I really believe there's going to be a divide in these changes. There's going to be some of us who choose to stay the old way. I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was before. That's never going to happen. But you still got that same kind of system. Some people are comfortable with that. I can't understand why. I don't get it. But that's okay. I don't need to. If that's their choice for themselves, that's fine. There are people like me who don't want that. And they think we're going to just kind of branch off. Not that, we're going to be disconnected from loved ones or anything like that. But it's just going to be two different worlds. On the same planet. I believe that's what the new Earth really is. There is no split into two different planets. It's still the same planet. But you have, I guess, different societies, different ways to live. But yeah, I was just thinking that. I went back into the city, back into the way I lived most of my life, for the first 50 years of my life. And I had forgotten, because I've been living like this so long, what it was like, and it was a good task for me. And it was a good reminder, yes, this stuff really is going on. People really are being affected by it. Okay, I think I needed a reminder of that because I forget a lot. So now I feel comfortable. I'm on my way home, back to my regular life, which is a good thing because in the last couple of weeks, celebrating with my family, I ate a lot. I'm not getting the exercise I usually do. I've gained a ton of weight. So I got to get back to work on my little homestead. Because at home, it's like I don't eat all that stuff. I think I eat one meal a day and might have a snack. And then I'm working in the yard, Now I'm sitting here like this little butterball. I don't feel physically good, It's like I need to get back into my healthy lifestyle. So I really, I'm looking forward to that too. So I just wanted to talk about that. What I observed going back to the opposite of how I live, how I was meant to live naturally for me, because I've been doing this. Well, if you include being a nomad, which is totally off-grid, kind of roughing it, and, living off-grid, being a homesteader, it's pretty much the same thing, only I'm not moving around. And I think I needed that reminder and that test myself to see, can I stand my ground, one, without, causing a row, but, getting all upset and angry, or feeling like I'm being attacked, or feeling like somebody's going to take my life, the life I created for myself from me. At the beginning of this new lifestyle a few years ago, I was afraid of that. No, it doesn't affect me anymore. I'm not afraid of it. And I needed a reminder of what is actually going on in the world. Because I am secluded, even though I'm watching and I'm aware of it. I just kind of needed that reminder. And I got it. Because I immersed myself in it. But still, I am not going to let it, I'm still going to detach and observe. Not going to let it affect me. It does not mean I don't care. Quite to the contrary. But I have to live my best life while it's going on. Because there is a saying, the best revenge is living a good life. And that's what I'm doing. That's what we all should be doing. So anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be. And make it a joyful one.